Well, that was how the cookie crumbled last season, with the Denver Nuggets winning their first ever NBA title. And 134 days later, the NBA is back, and oh, how things have changed. With every new season comes its very own version of drama, excitement, and expectations. Superstars making super teams and generational young talents looking to carry the weight of their franchise. Add to that the newly introduced in-season tournament, and you have one of the most anticipated NBA seasons yet. All right, so we know that it's shaping up to be an exciting matches with a rematch of the Western Conference Finals as reigning champions, the Denver Nuggets, take on the LeBron James and the LA Lakers, followed by the new-look Phoenix Suns against the Golden State Warriors and their new point guard, Chris Paul. Well, here to preview the new season and all that comes with it, our NBA analyst, Alister Albert. Good afternoon, Alister. It's been a while. It's been some time.
Been some time, been a few weeks, but like I was just telling Ricardo just before we came in, I think life is starting to become normal again. The NBA is back. I feel good. I feel excited. I'm really looking forward to see how it all plays out this year. I'm happy to be back with you guys in your swanky new studio.
Yeah, always a pleasure to chat NBA with you. So I'll start with fixture number 1, Lakers versus the Nuggets. What are we expecting? The Nuggets are defending champions, Alister, and they'll want to come out with a bang.
They definitely want to come out with a bang, and what they need to kind of ward off and be very careful about is, of course, the championship hangover. Many people, always look out to see how teams come out after they win a championship on ring night, a night full of emotions. You're getting your banner raised to the ceiling. You're getting your these new rings that cost loads of money, and there's a lot of stuff going on just production-wise and everything, getting the team ready for this NBA season. So can they kind of get past everything? Can Nikola Jokic forget about Serbia and the horses? Can they get past losing Bruce Brown, who left the team, during free agency, and Jeff Green? Can they kind of keep this team together and go? So, but I actually like the Lakers in this one. I think the Lakers are out for revenge. There was a lot of talk during the offseason, and I think LeBron and Anthony Davis are ready for this game tonight.
Yeah, that's the narrative going into this one. Revenge for the Lakers, a healthy AD, a well-rested LeBron. What type of excitement are we in for tonight?
Loads of excitement. This is LeBron James, who himself, of course, has been on a couple of ring nights himself. He knows what to expect. And, we hear throughout all the seasons, how intelligent and, the high basketball IQ LeBron James has. He could call out plays from the other team. He is very familiar with the Denver Nuggets now, having played them in the Western Conference Finals last season. And, he'll be ready to kind of take advantage of, mismatches and try to show that in season 21, he still has the horses of a 23-year-old, ready to kind of put it down. Anthony Davis, of course, he has a lot to make up for, in a bit of a dismal performance in the Western Conference Finals last year. And, he has a little bit of making up to do with Nikola Jokic after, a bit of a disappointing showing. So, yeah, a lot of excitement. New team members on the Lakers, they had a remarkable offseason, and I think they will want to kind of put their stamp on the game as well.
Yeah, and speaking about new team members, the second match for tonight will be the Suns versus the Warriors. And I think the storyline for this one, Alister, is mouth-watering because we have Chris Paul's first regular season with the Golden State Warriors against his last team. What a perfect storyline.
Perfect storyline. A team he led to the finals, a team who hadn't gotten to the finals in 20 years or whatever it was, and he is now back playing against them as a member of the Warriors, a team, who was his arch nemesis over his career. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he kind of fits in with the mold, with what they're doing in Golden State. Steve Kerr has said, he really likes, what he's seen so far in training camp. and how he's been able to work really well with Steph Curry off the ball, on the ball, as they get familiar with each other. And I think there's some potential, and there's a few talks about whether or not he will come off the bench. He says he's still a starter, but we'll see what happens. He has to submit to the team in terms of trying to be a good team player. But yeah, the storylines are ripe for excitement itself as well. And let's see if there's any bad blood or any sort of one-upmanship that's going on there as well. Another big storyline: Kevin Durant's first game in the Chase Center since he left Golden State.
Yeah.
So this is also going to be a big one as well.
Yeah, he left in 2019, so I would love to see how he matches up against them as well. Do you think, Alister, this is Chris Paul's best chance to win a ring?
This was a question I actually thought about a couple of days ago before you guys contacted to come on tonight. And, I thought to myself, is this really his best chance? He actually was in the finals a couple of years ago with the Phoenix Suns. That was considered his best chance. And now he's on a team that is, always a contender, someone you always kind of think who can kind of get their teams to the finals. And I actually think this is probably their best chance, with a condition that I'm hoping that the Warriors can probably make some sort of addition to their team in the center position. I think they're very lacking and deficient in that position. They had an off-season training with Dwight Howard that didn't go well. He wasn't selected to kind of join the team. But if they could add another big man to kind of spare Kevon Looney, I think they're probably the ones who I would actually consider the favorites to come out of the West, based on what they could do.
Yeah, Alister, the NBA title, of course, the big one to win. But I'm quite excited as well about this new in-season tournament. What can you tell us about this tournament and your own feeling about this addition to the NBA season?
Well, it was a great addition. This is something that has been spoken about for quite a few years from Adam Silver. This is as well his opportunity to stamp his name on and create a legacy for himself, creating an in-season tournament very similar to what we see in the football leagues across Europe and elsewhere. And, it's given the NBA players a chance to kind of reach for something else. It's not just about, just the Larry O'Brien trophy. This trophy is yet to be named. I think it's just going to be called the NBA Cup. But as you see on the graphic here, all 30 teams will take part in this tournament with the games within the 82-game season. There are no additional games. I think they said probably just one for the two teams who will probably be in the finals. But, it's going to be really interesting to see how teams get up for this and players get up for this. This, of course, was kind of put in to try to ward off against load management, gives the team some other incentive to try to play and to be on the court for. So let's see how this all works out. It's really going to be interesting to see how the whole structure of it works out, how excited the guys and the players will be to play in it. And yeah, it's really exciting. It's another great addition to the NBA calendar that I think is going to do wonders for the league.
Yeah, as you can see there, it will start on the 3rd of November and culminate on the 9th of December. And I heard you just now, Alister, but I want to get a little bit more from you as to specifically how you feel about it. I heard you speak about the players and so on, but I want to know specifically if this is something as a basketball fan that you like.
Well, yeah, I do. It's more basketball. It's more something else to cheer for. So for me, as a basketball fanatic, I love it. I think it's really good to kind of see what's going to happen. The purist in me, of course, kind of thinks, this is just going to distract a lot from the history of the game. It's something else you have to worry about. This doesn't really matter. It's not the NBA title. We spoke about, who are world champs in this off season, and and everyone kind of talks about the NBA championship being the end all and be all for the NBA. So yeah, it's a bit weird to have this in season tournament now, but for fans of the game, fanatics, not casual fans, guys who enjoy basketball and want to see more competition, I love it. I think it's going to we're going to see the guys just play a lot more with a lot more excitement, and especially after all the talk of load management, the rule changes that have been made to kind of go against that and everything. I love it. I think it's going to be really good for the league, and it's probably the best thing they could do to try to get players to play more. So yeah.
How do you think it will impact how teams approach the entirety of the season?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. And like I was saying, we speak about the load management. Of course, the league has now instituted rules to try to prevent and penalize teams and players who don't play in games in back-to-backs and all that sort of stuff. And I think, this now kind of talks about, coaches and their strategies, how they kind of decide, who plays on a nightly basis and who's going to play. Literally, it's going to be just that. And I think, it's going to be, really important, would we want to play Steph Curry on a back-to-back when he's going for the potential title of this new in-season tournament, when we could probably think about resting him for the rest of the season. It's these sorts of decisions and strategical, conversations that coaching staffs now need to have. So it will impact, I think coaches now have to learn on the fly how to manage their players' minutes and playing time, and whether they play, how they schedule their games across the 82-game season to decide whether or not, what's important. Is it the long run, the whole 82-game season, or this in-game tournament? So it's going to affect a lot of strategy, I think, in terms of lineups and who plays.
All right, Alister. Well, I know you sent in your title contenders list, so let's have a look at it now.
Yep.
All right. So you think that the Lakers and the Nuggets will be the Western Conference contenders for the championship. And for the East, you're saying the Bucks and the Celtics. Give us a bit of explanation for these picks.
Yeah, I think it's one of these things you kind of see some regular and constant faces, in these selections right here. But I think with what we've seen in the offseason, especially on the East, with some of the landscape changes that we've seen, Drew Holiday moving from Milwaukee and going to the Celtics, the Celtics also acquiring Kristaps Porzingis, the Bucks, of course, getting, the Damian Lillard into their lineup now, who replaces Drew Holiday as well. I think, that storyline alone is going to kind of create a lot of fireworks and sparks throughout the season. And I think their teams on paper are probably just above and beyond the rest of the teams in that conference. So I think, that's what is going to be in the East. On the Western side, we have the Lakers and the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are, you have to respect them as champions. There is some level of continuity there with, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, and all these guys who now have championship experience and want to prove that it was not a fluke. These guys are probably going to come out and play really hard this season as well. And the Lakers, before the Dame Lillard and the Celtics and the Bucks trades, I had the Lakers as winning the off-season in terms of the acquisitions that they made during the season, the off-season, to kind of be ready for their title run this year. It was an excellent, set of acquisitions done by Rob Pelinka. And, I think, it puts them in a really good position, with a lot of depth to kind of help the Lakers kind of go through. But of course, health is the main thing. We have major stories here with Anthony Davis missing quite a lot of games, and LeBron James, who's now approaching 39 years old, who's starting to miss games a lot more now. So can these guys remain healthy? And I think if they can, they will be the ones who will represent the West, potentially going against a Nuggets team who are really looking to try to show that it's not a fluke and they deserve to be champions.
Yeah, when asked about the players to watch, this is what Alister served up. Let's see. All right, Damian Lillard, you had Jordan Poole, Victor Wembanyama, LeBron James, and Drew Holiday. I saw a lot of good stuff from Wembanyama in the preseason. Let's talk about him a bit.
Yeah, Victor Wembanyama, he's been, phenomenal. Apart from his first game in the preseason where he kind of looked a bit shaky, looked a little bit out of sorts, missed most of his three-pointers. I think he made one, probably subject to correction, but he didn't make multiple, that's for sure. And, he didn't really kind of show as much as people thought that he would. But, as the preseason progressed, and even in that same first game, you saw quite a lot of flashes of his defensive capabilities, his offensive moves, his fluidity with the ball, and someone who's ready to make other players around him better as well. And he's a sponge. Greg Popovich says, he's not about the fluffy stuff and wanting to, just be a great teammate and everything. He wants to win a championship as soon as possible. And, we just seen there this highlight of him blocking Andrew Wiggins, taking taking a three-point shot with a guy who's trying to up that ball really high to prevent, being blocked, and he still blocked it. And it's amazing. You're going to be really interesting to see how he plays in the NBA against NBA talent. And yeah, it's going to be really good to see what he does.
Which team wins the overall NBA title this season?
Ooh, tough question. But I think I'm leaning towards the Celtics. The Celtics right now, I think, are, they have what it takes. When we look at what happened with Milwaukee and them acquiring Drew Holiday coming from the New Orleans Pelicans, he was the one who put the Milwaukee Bucks over the hump. They had, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was playing out of his mind, doing as much as he can, and he just couldn't get past, the Celtics and LeBron and all the other teams that he's played against over his career. Drew Holiday came into that team and solidified them from the point guard position in terms of playmaking and defense. And we saw, of course, in the finals when they played against the Suns, how instrumental Drew Holiday was in clamping down on Devin Booker and Chris Paul. He now going to the Celtics, I think he does exactly the same thing. I think, they're already a great defensive team, and Drew Holiday just brings that tenacity and offensive capability alongside Kristaps Porzingis added to that team. I don't think they're going to miss Marcus Smart very much, with Drew Holiday. So I think the Celtics probably are the ones to beat if they all stay healthy, as usual.
Right. Well, the party begins tonight, and Alister will be connecting with you from time to time. I want to thank you so much for stopping by on the Sportsmax Zone. See you soon.
No problem. See you guys soon.
Alister Albert there, our NBA analyst. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.